Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Minecraft update video. It is Snapshot 21w17a. It's a smaller one, that means a shorter video from me. And when we do get these smaller releases, sometimes it means the major update is just around the corner. However, there is no word from Mojang on this as of yet. So let's jump into it. There has been some rebalancing to copper ore and raw copper. We have recently seen some changes with this that apply to iron and gold as well. And that is that they now drop, of course, the raw copper. But the change here is the amount that you get. You will get between 2 and 3 from each copper ore that you mine. And if you have fortune, I've got fortune 3 right here, you can get as much as 9 of these dropping from a single block. Now this is in line with a recipe change for the copper block. It used to just cost you 4 ingots. It's now going to cost you 9 to make a block of copper. So I think what they want to do is just make that more intuitive, since that's the way you do it with the other materials that essentially share the same system for creating these sorts of blocks. And by the way, these textures here have been tweaked and changed ever so subtly. So what I'm going to do is put the official Mojang image on the screen so you can see the side-by-side comparison. Along with that, a minor change to the small drip leaf block, which can now be placed on top of moss. Apparently it couldn't be put there before. And also the hanging roots can now be waterlogged. Previously this wasn't possible, and now you can see it's clearly waterlogged. Along with those small changes, the candle recipes will now be grouped together for colour, not to be confused with the candle recipe itself. When you're changing a candle to a different colour, they won't all appear separately in this menu. And before we get into the 1.18 features, a couple of things I missed from last week's snapshot I wanted to share with you. The moss block obviously spreads to other blocks. As you'll see here, sand and gravel have actually been removed from that list, so they can no longer spread onto those blocks. And the glow lichen is now going to have its own colour on a map. Previously this was the same as vines, but now it's been given its own unique colour. There is also a change to the infested deep slate block. As you can see, the regular deep slate can be rotated on being placed, and of course the silverfish can infect one of these blocks, so now because of that the infested block is rotatable too. And you might have noticed this just a moment ago, but the amount of blocks that you actually get from bone milling the moss has sort of been reduced slightly. I think the shape has been modified too, but in general it will convert less blocks to moss around it. So now for the 1.18 stuff, and if you're unaware of the update split and how there are now data packs to preview what the underground generation is going to look like, in that update you need to watch my last couple of snapshot videos. What they have introduced in this one is called Noodle Caves, and we're going to see them generating absolutely everywhere, it would seem. It kind of feels like when you go underground and look around, there are now way more caves than there were before, and right here you can actually see some of the noodle caves. The idea is that they're going to be very thin and difficult to explore as they get rather narrow and stretched out, essentially being like noodles. And I'm kind of just focusing on a couple of them right here. I think what will really help though is looking at the official image that Mojang shared, as I think this was created with nothing but the noodle caves generating. And so I think here is a good spot to focus on. We can see a little bit of the noodly stuff going on right in front of us. And then if we just pan up, this little spot right here, like this would be very difficult to explore. I'm not really sure if I like these or not. Look, they create little pockets of air around, and you know, having to explore through them and mine a little bit more is fine, but they kind of look like they just lead to dead ends a lot of the time. Maybe if they linked from one cave to another and you saw them in game, it would be a good idea to like go mining and break your way through and find out what was on the other side. As you can see, these caves here are pretty claustrophobic, and it might not always be too sure if you're in one of them or not. I've also got night vision, which makes it a little easier to explore, but this is essentially the idea. And then we can just, like, you know, break these and pop through to the other side. I'm not sure if this is a great feature or not. Like I said before, I feel like it really needs to be obvious where to go, and it needs to lead to somewhere else. In this update, Mojang have also made some changes to ore veins, and thanks to this amazing data pack sent to me by my buddy Plagiatus, we are able to eat through the world and leave behind the main materials of these ore veins, at least for the copper and iron. If that, well, they're the only two, right, that currently spawn as veins. And so in this area you can see lots of clumps of granite and andesite, and quite frequently near them are the copper and the iron ores. Now Mojang said that they've tweaked these so that they are slightly smaller but also rarer, and I'm not really sure if we're actually seeing some of the ore veins as they've been shown to us before. So I'm going to keep looking through this world until I'm sure that I've found one. Okay, I've definitely got one right here. Look at the granite and the copper that comes off the sides of it. Either this is a lot of luck or it is a vein, in fact. And as I move around, it kind of spreads in all directions and does go on for quite a while. You can see it spreading over here and then down in this direction. And there is something new included in all of this that I am yet to see, unfortunately. So I am now running this command in the hopes of finding it myself, and right as I fly over here, there it is. Look, those can now be found. Yes, raw blocks of copper and raw iron can be found inside of these, and even though I was about to use the command, it was actually exposed on the surface, so you don't have to mine through the other block to essentially see it, although this would normally be entirely surrounded by stone. And so just to recap, Mojang have said that the ore veins are going to be clumpier and less evenly distributed, which feels so, and that they're also going to be rarer and slightly smaller in size. And while I've been making this video, Henrik has been communicating with the community and shown off this really cool video of the world generating the vein ores with buttons as placeholders for the blocks it can replace other stuff with, so you can get a better, clearer view of the shape of these ore veins. And so as you'll see here, it wasn't a big snapshot at all. There were some bug fixes, a couple of which I included. However, for the most part, these are things that are not really relevant to survival or many players, and, you know, polishing things that have been introduced in the snapshot development. So on that note, we come to the end of the video. Make sure you're subscribed over here to catch the future snapshots, and of course hit the like button if you want to support the channel. Thank you ever so much. I will see you soon with another one. Bye bye.